Welcome back, Wolfpack. Verlis here. We're taking a trip from Kalos to Hoenn, and we're bringing Trevenant with us. Trevenant gets a good amount of Mega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire move tutor moves. We have Pain Split, Foul Play, Skill Swap. All these can be integrated into a moveset. Did want to make a note about Drain Punch, that Trevenant does have Hoenn Leech instead. So Hoenn Leech is going to pretty much do the same thing. 75 base power, recovers 50% of damage dealt, except Trevenant is a grass type Pokemon, so it also gets Stab, and that's just kind of one of the things to make note of right there. So Drain Punch is more coverage based, and then if you want the Stab, bigger healing, bigger damage move, then that's when you just go for the Hoenn Leech. Also, we can hop over to Bulbapedia really quick and kind of look at some other things. Trevenant does have Magic Coat, so some standard stuff like Magic Coat, and Trick could also be a decent potential move because you have the ability Harvest. And let's go and hop over and look at Harvest. This is going to be the main thing on Trevenant. If the last item is a berry, 50% chance to restore it at the end of each turn, 100% in Sun. So pretty much if you're just playing like a huge sustain game, you're almost never going to run out of some form of berry sustain, which we'll talk about. Which means you could even like trick it over to an ally if your ally doesn't have an item. Give them the berry and then you get your berry back at the end of the turn. Or you can play around with your opponents a bit with that. And that's just something because Trevenant is going to be able to have that harvest ability. It can recycle items out. So it is really interesting to think about Trick on it. Also, Skill Swap is a pretty big move because now you can give any Pokemon Harvest, and that just calculates for some huge sustain while also putting some potentially useful kind of ability onto Trevenant. Now let's go and look at Trevenant's movesets. Like I said earlier, we're going to be a huge sustain tank. That the idea is you're going to be burning your opponent for a ton of damage while also getting a ton of health back. The first set is Lumberry Rest. So hopefully with Harvest, you know you're never not going to be able to rest for more than a turn. That, you know, the worst case scenario is you use Rest, you've already used your Lumberry, and then you don't get it back for another turn. But here's pretty much how you want to play it. Will-O-Wisp. Will-O-Wisp is going to be very strong, burns the target, cuts their attack in half. So you throw out the Will-O-Wisp on a physical Pokemon, throw out the Leech Seed on a special Pokemon, and then you just hang back and let the health come back. Because, I mean, with Leech Seed, 1/8 of the target's hit points is restored to you every turn. You're also going to be doing 1/8 of their health from the burn. So they're losing 1/4 of your health. You're getting at least 1/8. And now you have an infinite rest almost while using Hoenn Leech. Hoenn Leech is going to recover 50% of the damage dealt. So you can get an extra 16th to 50% because Trevenant does have a decent amount of attack. When we look at the way that we're going to break down the stats, we can go 252 in the hit points, just 4 on that defense with a defensive nature, then the rest into special defense, which means now we're just going to have really good special defense, really good hit points, and some good base physical survivability. Then when the Will-O-Wisp lands, you can go into a rest, and you're not going to be taking damage at all. And then you rest, Lumberry comes out, and then you might get that Lumberry back at the end of the turn, or if you're already resting, you'll get the Lumberry then, and then wake up. So unless you have really bad RNG luck, you will not be rested for long. So it's just like free full hit points all the time while you're also receiving health from Leech Seed, while you're also burning them down from Will-O-Wisp. So Trevenant just wants to be that huge, just drain sustain tank, and it does that very well. We can also look at the Citrus Berry variant. Instead of running Lumberry Rest, it's going to be Citrus Berry Protect, that you throw out the Leech Seed, and then you get your Citrus Berry. So now Citrus Berry is giving you 1/4 of your health, Leech Seed is giving you 1/8 of your health, Will-O-Wisp is also burning them, and then you just Protect. So if you don't get Citrus Berry at the end of the turn, you Protect. Odds are, since it's 50%, you'll get the Citrus Berry then. So it looks like you're going to be getting quite a bit of hit points. You know, you're at least getting like 1/4 of your hit points every turn on average, with potentially a little more if you get like back-to-back Citrus Berries or something. And then you do a Hoenn Leech. So now we're looking into some serious sustain while also pumping out damage. The idea is all the movesets are kind of going to carry this hit points, defense, special defense kind of idea, but it's still pretty solid because Trevenant is a very tanky Pokemon. Well, it's tanky-ish. It has 85, 76, 82. It's pretty good on tanky standpoint since we're only investing in the full tank and we're just relying on percent health burn. Then we also have a substitute set. You go into substitute, Citrus Berry is going to proc at the end of the turn most likely, so you're getting your health back from using the substitute. If they're going for status, or if they're not directly attacking you or breaking your substitute, you're in a really good position, because the idea is you set up Will-O-Wisp. If they get burned enough to where they're not hitting with any super effective hits, or they're not a strong physical Pokemon to begin with, use just substitute stays up, Citrus Berry heals that up, and then you can hide behind your substitute and start throwing up power-up punches. So if your opponent is going for that status, if they're going for setup, this Trevenant can take huge abuse of that. And then again, it's just Will-O-Wisp, Hoenn Leech, substitute Power Punch. Power Punch into Hoenn Leech is going to be a super amount of damage, and that's really what we're looking at on Trevenant. Now we want to incorporate some of the other things that we've seen. Pain Split. Pain Split is going to be pretty nice. If you anticipate a huge hit coming your way, you use Pain Split, then Citrus Berry Citrus Berry would probably be best for that. So you use Pain Split, and then you get a ton of health back. You could use this instead of Hoenn Leech on one of the movesets. So it'd be like this, except instead of Hoenn Leech, we just have Pain Split. And now we're just anticipating, alright, we're going to get knocked down into the red. We use Pain Split on them. That's going to level out the hit points. This will pull you somewhere around half. Then Leech Seed heals you. Then Citrus Berry heals you. And now you effectively just swap over all of the hit points while they take Will-O-Wisp. So now they're going to be in the yellow and the red, and you pull yourself all the way up to green. Trevenant, if you can't directly one-hit KO it, even though it is a frail Pokemon, it's a Grass Ghost typing. So quite a few things do hit it super effective, but if your opponent isn't hitting it super effective, you might be able to just out-sustain through quite a lot. And then there's also Trevenant's, signature move that can lead to a lot of combo potential. That's going to be Forest's Curse. Adds the grass typing to the target, so it isn't like Soak. Soak changes that Pokemon to a mono water type. Forest Curse is going to add grass typing, which does some interesting things. If you use it on a Scizor, that Scizor now becomes 8 times weak to fire. And then you can just kind of look at other Pokemon that if you need to add the grass typing for some kind of stab boosting, that can work out as well. We saw it on a Fan Friday with a Sudowoodo. So Sudowoodo's Wood Hammer got more damage, and it also reduced the weakness to water that it had from its rock typing. So while grass isn't the most durable typing, there are some Pokemon that it's really good on. Like you add grass to steel typing, and now we have another Ferrothorn where it's only 4 times weak to fire, and the rest is pretty good. And also being 2 times weak against fighting type attacks, so there is combo potential there. If you really build a team around it, you can use Forest Curse, and that's kind of what we're looking at. Also, Forest Curse can be really interesting if you don't want to get like Leech Seeded or Spored from an opponent. It might make for a quick outplay. Also, Trevenant, since it is a slow Pokemon, you can use it under Trick Room to a lot of success, and there's just a lot of diversity on this Pokemon, while also being kind of on the same kind of track. And then when we look at Skill Swap, the first thing I was thinking about is what if you like Skill Swap into a Lumberry Slacking? That you're essentially going to run some set like this. Let's go be like Rest Lumberry. Now it's a Harvest Slacking instead of a Slow Start Slacking, or not Slow Start, instead of a Truant Slacking. And that could be really, really silly with a defensive setup, because now you have just super amounts of health, you can't be burned, you're immune to status pretty much. And it's really nice. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. We took a trip from Kalos to Hoenn, and we brought Trevenant with us, and in the end it's a good Pokemon, and I hope you all have a nice day.